Welcome to the golden age of postmodern furniture, a journey into the bold, playful, rebellious world of design from 1980 to 2000. I'm your host, Steve Estrada, and we'll kick off episode 1, Memphis Milano and Ettore Sottsass, the revolution that shook design. This is the story of how a group of misfit designers in Milan looked at the strange, beige, rational world of modernism and said, no, we're going to do something different, something joyful and something human. So settle in where the world of design explodes into color. We're going to talk about the world before the revolution, hear about the night Memphis was born, learn about their first exhibition, delve into the Memphis philosophy, and the cultural explosion that was born of Memphis Milano. Before the revolution, there was modernism with clean lines, neutral colors, rectangular forms, and the belief that form follows function. This is an era of brown sofas, steel office furniture, but sleek and cold interiors. The rooms were logical, they were efficient, and they were kind of boring. And designers were starting to suffocate. They were trained to follow the rules. Don't use too much color. Don't mix patterns. Don't be playful. And don't let emotion get in the way. For many creatives, it's as if their soul had been ripped out of themselves when it came to design. And then enter Ettore Sottsass, an architect, a philosopher, designer, and rule breaker who never fit into the modernist mold. Sottsass believed that design should spark emotion. It should carry humor, love, spirituality, rebellion, and maybe even fear. He once said, "When I was young, all we ever heard was function, function. But what about the spiritual function of things?" He set the stage for the revolution. Let's talk about the night Memphis was born. It was December 1980. Sottsass invited a group of young, hungry designers to his Milan apartment. You saw people like Michel Delucci, Nathalie Dupasquier, Martine Bédan, George Souden, Marco Zanini, and Peter Shire. And of course, you will see them in an Ettore Sottsass bed designed just like a wrestling ring. They were all sitting around a coffee table and listening to Bob Dylan's "Stuck Inside a Mobile with the Memphis Blues Again." Somebody said Memphis, someone else said, "That's it." And the name stuck instantly. What happened was they had their first exhibition. They had gotten together and just designed furniture like modern had never been designed before. At their first exhibition, you saw a bookcase that looked like a dancing figure. You saw a lamp on wheels. You saw a table that looked like it belonged on a children's television set. You saw patterns pulled from comic books and supermarkets. You saw the colors ripped from candy stores, beach blankets, and arcade machines. Some visitors were stunned, others were offended. Some people even laughed, and some said they felt joy for the first time in a long time. Architects and critics called it ugly, childish, irresponsible, and unserious. But the reaction, that was the point. Memphis wasn't meant to be polite. It was meant to wake people up. And as a result, young designers, students, and fashion houses embraced it immediately. Suddenly, the world felt colorful again. Next few pages, you'll see some designs. You see the Tivoli table by Marco Zanini, the cabinet designed by George Souden, a lamp designed by Ettore Sottsass, and that super lamp with the wheels on it designed by Martin Badan. Here are some elements of Memphis Milano. You see colors, and they weren't apologizing. You see a couch with gray, blue, pink, and green. And we're just talking one couch. That would have been 5 different couches under the old modernism. The exhibition bore the fact that furniture got an emotional reaction. For example, you can be overwhelmed. You can feel a lot of joy. You can think something's completely ridiculous and funny. No matter what it is, it's an emotion. All of a sudden you saw plastic laminate as a premium finish. For example, if you look at that bookcase in the corner that's red, gray, and yellow, the doors are made of plastic laminate with an original pattern. All of a sudden it was no longer a cheap covering for a kitchen countertop, but a high art material for a bookcase. The shapes of the furniture were playful. Look at the lamp that looks like it came out of a Dr. Seuss book on the fireplace mantle. Look at the bookcase in the corner that looks like its arms is wearing a crown and it's dancing. Finally, you had to have a sense of humor whether you were designing this furniture or paying thousands and thousands of dollars to have this in your house. I am a big fan of Memphis Milano. One of my favorite designers is Peter Shar from Los Angeles, who designs fun teapots like the one at the top of this page. Also, if you look at his hat and his shirt, he also looks like he's very colorful and comes out of a Dr. Seuss book. In my next house, I would like to have Memphis Milano furniture. In my previous house, I had a mid-century home with a lot of mid-century furniture that was very pretty but very predictable. This time, I would like to have something that's a lot of fun to bring joy and humor into my life. My favorite piece out of anything Memphis Milano is the Carlton bookcase. It's iconic of the Memphis Milano movement, and it has fun colors, many colors, and plastic laminate at the base of this bookcase. Another piece I would love to have is a Lido sofa by Michelle DeLucci, and this was in the movie Ruthless People starring Danny DeVito and Bette Midler. Also from Peter Shire is that Bel Air chair. I would like to either sit up in it straight like a throne or throw my legs over the purple arm and pop my back on the gray and neon gray section. It's just like having a chiropractor in a chair. I also want the Tahiti lamp and the treetops lamp by Ettore Sottsass for table lamps and floor lamps. Interestingly enough, these are now being knocked off by AliExpress at 1/10 of the normal price of $2,000. Finally, there's a Stanhope bed which is no longer in production. Last time they made it was 1982. You can currently get a small version like the one right there. For a used bed for $26,000 at the website firstdibs.com. As we know, Memphis Milano bred a cultural explosion. You can see it in design, architecture, Frank Gehry's Symphony Hall in downtown LA. On Sunset Boulevard, you see the Mondrian Hotel. Unfortunately, they got rid of all those fun colors. I hope they bring them back someday. The MTV logo has Memphis Milano influence. You see it in retail at the Children's Place down below, at the kids store. You see models wearing very colorful pieces that have the definite Memphis Milano philosophy of color. You also see it in adult furniture at the department store in the mall, and finally you see it and in the 1984 Olympic logo. Definite Memphis Milano colors and patterns. One more place you see the Memphis Milano influence was the design of Supper Club's 40th anniversary party in 2024. It was founded in 1984, right at the peak of Memphis Milano influence and design. It was a totally rad and tubular time. We designed the invitation to reflect the fun times, humorous times of the Memphis Milano influence. Please join me again for the next episode of the golden age of postmodern furniture. I'm your host, Steve Estrada.